Good morning. It's September 23rd, and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. NASA has selected 10 new astronaut candidates from over 8,000 applicants, including 6 women and 4 men. They will prepare for missions to the International Space Station, the Moon, and potentially Mars. The candidates have extensive flight experience and advanced degrees in fields such as aerospace engineering, geology, biomedical engineering, and neuroscience. Among them is Lauren Edgar, a former NASA geologist and Artemis III geology team member, now working at the U.S. Geological Survey. Personal stories from the group include Major Adam Furman, who received his call while in traffic, and Lieutenant Commander Erin Overcash, who reflected on how her ocean rescue experience benefits space travel. Catherine Spies, a Naval Test Pilot School graduate and former Director of Flight Test Engineering at Gulfstream Aerospace, is also part of the class. Additional active service members include Army Chief Warrant Officer Ben Bailey, Air Force Majors Adam Furman and Cameron Jones, and Navy Officer Imelda Mueller, who is also an anesthesiologist. SpaceX alumnus Yuri Kubo, former Director of Avionics for SpaceX's Starshield program, was also selected, highlighting collaboration with private space companies. The application process was highly competitive, requiring U.S. citizenship, advanced degrees, flight hours, and fitness tests. Candidates like Menon, with biomedical engineering experience, and Lawler, a hurricane hunter with extensive flight hours, bring valuable expertise. Several, including Erin Overcash, expressed excitement upon hearing they were chosen. Their training will include complex operations, scientific research, foreign languages, and high-performance jet flying. This new class joins NASA's existing astronaut corps, now totaling 48, and will be given a nickname by the previous class, the Flies. MIT researchers have developed an AI-guided technique called mits-scigen that designs materials with specific geometric structures linked to exotic quantum properties. This method aims to accelerate the discovery of quantum materials. Using mits-scigen combined with DiffCSP, the team generated over 10 million candidate lattice structures. They narrowed this down to about 1 million stable options. From these, 26,000 structures were further analyzed through high-fidelity simulations. This process led to the synthesis of 2 new compounds, TIP-DBI and TIP-BSB, which confirmed their predicted magnetic properties. While the method reduces the proportion of stable materials, it expands the pool of promising candidates for exploration. Experts note that targeted structural design is crucial for advancing materials science. Despite the AI approach, experimental validation remains essential to verify the properties of these new materials. Future iterations of mits-scigen may incorporate constraints related to chemical and functional criteria to improve accuracy. The broader implications include potential applications in biomedicine and clean energy, such as designing antibiotics against resistant bacteria. The development of tools like mits-scigen is part of a trend to democratize materials discovery and enable faster innovation. While further validation is needed, this approach could significantly speed up the development of materials for quantum computing and advanced technologies. The study was funded by the U.S. Department of Energy and the National Science Foundation, utilizing supercomputing resources at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, with findings published in Nature Materials. Roche has announced positive results from the Phase 3 EVERA study, showing that the combination of giredestrant and everolimus significantly improved progression-free survival in patients with ER-positive, HER2-negative advanced breast cancer who had previously received CDK4/6 inhibitors and endocrine therapy. The study's primary endpoints were met, demonstrating that this all-oral regimen is both effective and well-tolerated, with adverse events aligning with known safety profiles. While overall survival data are still immature, early indications suggest a positive trend, and further follow-up is planned to gather more definitive results. Giredestrant is an investigational oral selective estrogen receptor degrader designed to block estrogen binding and promote receptor degradation, with ongoing studies exploring its efficacy across multiple treatment settings. The combination therapy's tolerability and convenience could reduce the impact on patients' quality of life by avoiding injections and hospital visits. This development marks a potential resurgence for oral SERDs, especially after setbacks with similar drugs like Sanofi's amcenestrant and earlier failures with giredestrant. Other companies, such as Eli Lilly, have also reported success with oral SERDs like imlunestrant, which reduced the risk of disease progression or death in certain patient groups. Giredestrant is currently in 5 additional Phase 3 trials targeting breast cancer, with an estimated sales potential of $675 million by 2031 if approved. Results from these studies will be submitted to regulatory authorities and shared at upcoming medical meetings, aiming to make this treatment available soon. The focus on ESR1 mutated patients raises questions about its efficacy in ESR1 wild-type patients, potentially expanding its market. Additional data from Roche's larger trials, Persevera and Lidera, are expected in 2026, providing further insights into giredestrant's role in breast cancer treatment. Breast cancer remains the leading cause of cancer-related deaths among women globally, with ER-positive cases constituting about 70% of all breast cancers. Scientists are developing a genetic method to combat Lyme disease by modifying mice to be immune to the bacteria that cause the illness. This approach targets white-footed mice, which are the primary hosts for Lyme bacteria, aiming to interrupt the transmission cycle. The plan involves releasing thousands of these genetically altered mice during winter, when native populations are at their lowest, to help spread immunity and reduce Lyme disease cases. The project is currently awaiting approval from local, federal, and state regulators before it can proceed. Initial trials are planned on a small private island, with the goal of extending to Nantucket if successful. Community engagement has been ongoing through town hall meetings, but formal approval from local authorities is still needed. Researchers are also collaborating with Martha's Vineyard residents to assess ecological and ethical implications of releasing genetically modified organisms into the environment. Lyme disease affects nearly 500,000 people annually in the United States, and while treatable with antibiotics, it can cause long-term health problems if untreated. Nantucket's tick population has increased significantly since the 1920s due to environmental changes and deer introduction. The project aims to balance scientific innovation with ecological and societal considerations, emphasizing community input and ongoing discussions about gene editing risks and benefits. If approved, initial testing will take place on a small private island, with the ultimate goal of reducing Lyme disease cases and their health impacts. A Phase 1 clinical trial for a new vaccine targeting breast cancer has been completed, funded by the U.S. Department of Defense. This vaccine, developed at Cleveland Clinic and licensed to Anixa Biosciences, is the first of its kind and builds on decades of preclinical research led by Vincent Tuohy, Ph.D. The trial focused on assessing safety, tolerability, and early signs of efficacy. The results have been described as exceeding expectations by the company's CEO, Dr. Amit Kumar. Comprehensive data, including blood and tissue analysis, will be presented at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium by Dr. Justin Johnson. This data will help guide future development, including discussions with the FDA and Department of Defense. The development of this vaccine is rooted in extensive preclinical work at Cleveland Clinic, and early results suggest it could impact breast cancer prevention and treatment significantly. The full results will be formally presented at the symposium on December 11, 2025, with a full report submitted to regulatory agencies. Anixa has also secured patents in the US, China, and Canada, extending into the 2040s, strengthening its intellectual property position. Beyond breast cancer, the company has vaccines for ovarian and other cancers, developed in collaboration with Cleveland Clinic and Moffitt Cancer Center. Recent progress includes completing dosing in a higher dose cohort for a CAR-T therapy targeting recurrent ovarian cancer, which showed no dose-limiting toxicities. Despite operating at a loss, Anixa maintains a strong financial position with more cash than debt and substantial liquid assets, supporting ongoing development efforts. This has been your daily brief in science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with everything you need to know.